welcome to Diaries. My name is Michelle and this is Tia. And on our channel, we share stories on how to build wealth through real estate. Be sure to subscribe on a weekly basis so you can hear about real stories from real investors working on real deals.
Today's topic is going to be about 5 money-saving tax strategies that you can use in real estate.
Now, as a disclaimer, we are not tax professionals, so be sure to refer to your CPA or tax advisor about your particular situation. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of advanced topics concerning taxes, so be sure to go to our description below for links for more detailed information about the topics that we're going to go over today.
Let's jump right in. Number 1, rental tax depreciation. When you think about investing in real estate, you think of a building, right? And that building has a lifespan. The IRS has said that for rental property or multifamily property, that lifespan is 27.5 years for the actual structure of the building. And that can actually be written off every single year for 27.5 years as a tax deduction, which is awesome. So basically, just for the building existing, you can write off taxes for that. And you'll want to speak with your CPA just to go over that strategy. To give you a very simple formula for rental tax depreciation, it's basically the purchase price of the building minus the land price is going to give you your building value. And then you divide that by 27.5 years. And that's going to show you your taxable allowable income each year. And on average, it's about 3.6% per building that you have. We'll share more information below.
Absolutely. Number 3, cost segregation studies. Now, a cost segregation study is pretty much a process that calculates a depreciation value for specific line items attached to the structure of your property. So an example, this could be assigning a depreciation value for kitchen cabinets, the carpet, the blinds, even the light switches, right? And so one thing you want to do is reach out to a cost segregation company today and see if actually doing this report may benefit you more than not. They usually can give you a free quote up front on the potential tax credits that you can get from performing a cost segregation study that pretty much accelerates the depreciation in each of those small little line items to help you benefit from increased cash flow from deferring those taxes. So it is pretty complicated, so make sure to go to the link below to get a couple of referrals on a couple of cost segregation studies where you can start to see whether it will be worth it for you.
And number 3, the 1031 exchange. And this is well-known, very powerful tool among real estate investors. And the 1031 exchange, think of it as you have a property, you've gained equity in that property, and now you want to sell it. Well, when you sell that property, you have to pay what is known as capital gains tax. And capital gains tax is a very steep tax, right? And so in order to defer that, you roll all of the equity and the capital gains into another property. And generally that property is larger, and has more doors, more cash flow, more equity. And this is a very powerful tool for those that would like to, start small and kind of continue to build their portfolio through real estate investing. And throughout this process, basically, you're deferring your tax obligations. So very powerful tool. For more information, definitely check below, and we'll be sharing a story at the end about how we have personally utilized this.
Right, absolutely. 1031 exchange are a powerful tool because most people can't save 25% or 35% down on a large 24 unit building, right? And so when you think about it, 1031 exchanges allows for you to start off small. Yep. And then as you start to build your portfolio of real estate, you take those smaller deals, you sell them for a gain, and you keep moving up, leveraging all of that equity versus paying taxes over that time to get a much bigger, much more cash flow, more units, more beneficial through the power of 1031 exchanges. So it's really a great tool. Yeah. So number 4, tax deductions, and more tax deductions. So a tax deduction is expense that is written off from the income of your rental property. Now, the law does allow you to deduct your expenses to manage, maintain, or repair your multifamily property or your rentals. Generally, tax deductions could include anything like insurance premiums, management costs, maintenance and repair items, utilities, even like gas and mileage driving to and from your property, or even like eating lunch while you're working with your property. So be sure to refer to your CPA, your bookkeeper, and your tax advisor about all the different tax deductions that you can write off to minimize your tax liability. So it's definitely a powerful way for you to pay less taxes while still benefiting from your investment property.
And number 5 is passive income tax benefit, which is why we all are in real estate, right? We basically would love to be sitting on our couch watching TV or out on the beach while our doors are just continuing to make us money.
Yeah,
correct?
imagine that. Absolutely.
Right?
That's the goal.
And so the benefit is basically active income is where you're going to work every single day, you're putting in your hours, you show up, you provide a service, a product, whatnot, right? And then passive income is where basically your money is making money for you all the time, right? Even in your sleep. So that's the way we'll kind of look at this. And when you have capital gains tax or you have federal income tax, you are actually taxed at a higher rate than passive income tax. And so you really want to put together a strategy with your tax professional, especially if you are not a real estate professional working over 500 hours, because this may not apply to you. But if you're a real estate investor and you're not doing more than 500 hours in the business, this is a way that you could definitely be saving on your income taxes and utilizing this benefit. So definitely look into it.
Absolutely. So I have another story for the Door Diaries. So on the topic of cost segregation, this is where it's really important to have a good tax advisor on your team as well as a mentor. One of my mentors had reached out to me and said, you know what, you should totally get a cost segregation study on your multifamily properties. And I haven't really thought about that, right? Now, there is a cost to having someone go out there. It's almost kind of similar to an appraiser that goes out to your property to analyze the property and take pictures. But once they kind of did the cost study, it turns out that it saved a lot of money for me in taxes this year. So they usually will give you a quote. So you do have to pay for the study to get done, but they'll give you the quote on the potential tax credits you'll get from doing that. Now, I'm actually a real estate professional, so this is my active income. So it actually worked as a tax credit, but your CPA, your advisor can really advise you on whether a cost segregation study placed on your property where they can calculate a lot more depreciation that you can write off against may benefit you. So be sure to at least look into it, because you can get that free quote and to decide from there. And then if you can save a lot of money on your taxes, you're welcome.
So, yes, and then you can call all your friends,
yes,
like
exactly.
Michelle did, and say, you won't believe how much money I saved by doing this.
Yes, absolutely. So definitely worth it. I mean, like, the law changes quite often, so be sure to refer to your tax advisor on, what is the current law. But I know for 2022, you were actually able to accelerate all that depreciation to year one. And I know that kind of changes and deducts years after that as they fade out that program. So while it's still out there, be sure to take advantage of it for some of the smaller properties.
Absolutely. For me, I love the 1031 exchange tax strategy. Basically, I'm one of those people that started out very small, with a duplex, and I gained a great deal of equity with that property. And what I loved about it is, of course, I'm like, okay, I want to build, right? And when you sell, you get hit with that big tax bill, right? Just for doing the sale. And I said, okay, I'm going to do the 1031 exchange. So I basically took the funds that I earned on that first property, right? And I was able to roll it directly into a commercial property that was a 6 unit and jump into this commercial game. And like Michelle said, it's hard to save up 25% of a down payment for a property. So using the 1031 exchange tax credit is awesome, because you can earn more doors, have more cash flow, build more equity, and then you can take that property, which I'm actually in the process of, sell it once you have those things in place, and do another, 1031 exchange and continue to build your portfolio.
Right, yeah, get more units, get more income. I mean, that's totally the goal, right? And so I think it's using a 1031 exchange strategy. Now, it doesn't always make sense to sell, right? But sometimes if the opportunity arises and it's a bigger property that you can trade your existing property into something that's better, it's definitely a way that you can build wealth faster. Yes.
Yeah. And so we are so appreciative that you've stayed to the end. So thank you. Our bonus tip for today is how to extend your 1031 exchange timeline. So typically with the 1031 exchange, basically from the day that you sell your relinquished property, you have 45 days to identify the next property that you're going to buy. Well, of course, you're like, oh my gosh, I only have 45 days to find the next property. It doesn't seem like very much time.
Right.
But if you work with the right agent and you put together the right strategy, when you go to list your very first property, you can bake in some extra time by adding extensions onto that contract so your buyer will know that, hey, if I haven't identified by this time, you can go ahead and write them and say, we'd like to extend by 2 weeks or 1 month. Of course, this depends on your local market. But if, let's just say your timeline is 45 days from the day of sale, so you already have 45 days. Let's say they have 30 days in their application loan period, right, to close. So now you're looking at 75 days. And then if you add another month onto that, right, if you exercise that extension, now you're at 105 days to identify. Well, you should definitely have enough time to identify a property within 105 days, right?
Right.
So just keep that in mind. It's just a strategy so that when you're going to do that 1031 exchange, you don't feel so much pressure like you only have 45 days. So
right, plenty of time to find a better property than the one you're trading out of. So
Absolutely.
definitely a good amount of time. And then a book that we highly recommend is for you to check out Tax-Free Wealth, written by Tom Wheelwright. It's definitely a great book that shows lots of strategies on how you can save money on taxes as an investor and build wealth faster. And if you're looking to invest in a real estate deal, buying and selling a property, or if you're looking for a real estate professional in your area, be sure to go to our website at doordiariesre.com and we'll connect you with an investment advisor in your area. See you later.